Hey, welcome back to the VET S.O.S. Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight. Hey, so remember, don't drown into your transition. Grab the VET S.O.S. Lifeline. Hey, so our Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight is proud to be affiliated with the Neil Haley Show and sponsored by Spirit Point Solution. What is Spirit Point Solutions? They are a one-stop shop for leading edge products, services, and training from multiple vendors. That's from your AI training, corporate gifts, and so much more. They're everything you need to help your organization thrive in a modern economy. So check out all the valuable offers at spearpointonline.com. I'll say that again, spearpointonline.com. Remember to use our code here, VET S.O.S. Anything you purchase there, that will help us continue our mission of improving the lives of those who have served. Hey, so on today's show, we have Mr. Adam Burford, a military veteran, entrepreneur, and CEO of Heroes Media Group. He is widely recognized for his leadership and expertise in podcasting, media, and business development. As the founder of HMG Beverage, co-founder of JB Audio Clothers, and co-founder of Makers Machine, a business networking and accountability group, Adam blends innovation with purpose across industries. His mission is to empower veterans, first responders, and community heroes through meaningful platforms and ventures. Welcome to the show, Adam. How you doing today?
Hey, appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's hop into this interview. So now let's go back to that new transition out into this big juggernaut of an entrepreneur. Before that, you were in the military. Talk to us about that transition. What were the three biggest lessons you learned from that transition, from going from military life, which is very structured, organized, different lifestyle, to what we call civilian lifestyle?
Yeah.
And how did those lessons shape you today?
So when I was going through that transition, I was in the National Guard. So I had a civilian job at the time. So it wasn't your typical transition. Although when I got out, I was pretty bitter about it. The job that I had, I was in an instructor's position. My MOS, I was a truck driver. So I was 88 Mike for my Army brothers and sisters out there, or Motor T. And they were getting ready to go on like a hurricane relief or something like that. And I was a single parent, and I was at the time I was away from the unit more than 50 miles. So at the time they considered that a hardship. I didn't have a family care plan in place. So it was like, hey, you either go with us or you get out. And I was like, well, fine, take the second half of my reenlistment bonus and you know where to stick it. I was out the next day. Like I had
Wow.
pissed some people off with my attitude on it. I was very bitter about it for years. So my transition, and then there afterwards, I would say probably the first 7-8 years after that, I was like against the VA. I was just kind of bitter about the whole process. Nobody really shared like, all right, when you get out, do this. Because I had a civilian job that at the time I was working with a lot of military vets. So it was kind of, I had a little bit of support there, but I was bitter in a sense of like, I wasn't ready. I didn't think I was ready to get out. I had planned on making a career out of it, and I didn't get that opportunity to do it. So it was like, all right, here's a pat on the back, and then they just forget about you. And that was it. And that was 2006, 2007 timeframe.
Gotcha. So now you didn't have the normal transition that you would have expected. And none of us do. Let's be honest about it.
Right.
And a lot of things we don't know, we just don't know.
Right.
But now let's shift gears, talk about, what was going on in your life at the time to have you decide, okay, I want to take the entrepreneur route. Because let's be honest, most times people get out, whether it be National Guard, whether it be Reserve, they usually take just a government job or some type of job because that's what we know, because most of our friends and who we serve with have done the same thing. And we're kind of like, hey, what's up, buddy? he knows a job coming up on
Yeah.
the board, he can get you that job. He know it fits you
Yeah.
perfectly. So that's kind of the way it is done. That's the way I know it was done.
Right.
So now, what was going on in your life at the time? You said, okay, hey, I want to go the entrepreneur route instead of taking that safe route of getting a job.
So at that time, again, I had the corporate job, and I was sick of that. And what happened was, for me to finally take what I call my leap of faith moment,
Mm-hmm.
was I took it April 1st of 2013. I had started my first business by then, but I was doing it part-time, because I was working the day job, right? And my son was getting into junior high, and he was playing sports and had a lot of extracurricular stuff. Again, single parent. I had sole custody of him. The other parent wasn't in his life, so it was just me and him.
Mm-hmm.
I was the type where I was like, you're not going to tell me I can't go to my son's football game or my son's activity. It was like, well, his game starts at 4 and I'm supposed to work till 6. Well, I'm not working those 2 hours. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm leaving at 3:30 so I can go to my son's game. And in a corporate world, that doesn't work out too well. Like, you get in trouble really fast. So it was just like, and I was in a position at the job the job that I had at the time where I was kind of getting away with a lot of stuff because my numbers were there. I was a high performer, so I could get away with a little bit more. And I'm not saying that as an egotistical way. It's not the right approach. I took it, and I admit that. That being said, however, it got to the point where that pushed me over the edge, and I said, all right, if I'm going to do this, and invest in myself full time, then I need to cut the corporate job, and I need to just focus on it. And I'm the type of person, like, I can't focus on, at that time, I couldn't focus on a regular job, 50 hours a week, and then come home and work another 5-6 hours a night trying to build my dream. It didn't work that way for me. So it was April 1st of 2013. I walked into work 20 minutes late. I gathered all of my things. I turned around, I walked out, and everybody's like, oh, it's April Fool's, Bird's up to something funny, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I quit. And here's how much time you laugh. Here's the funny part of it. No, I had a mortgage payment, motorcycle payment, a car payment, and I had no money in the bank. And I'm a single parent. I woke up the next morning, and it was like the come to Jesus moment where you're just like, oh, I didn't think this through very well. But at the same time, I also said, well, I know on my deathbed, at least I can say I gave it a shot.
Absolutely.
And I've been doing it ever since. I have not turned back.
Absolutely. Talk about a leap of faith. That's definitely a leap of faith.
Yeah. And for your listeners and viewers, not something I recommend doing. Like, think it out a little bit. Like, this is one of those, like, use my story as an example of what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely burned the boat on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you would more or less recommend come up with a plan or strategy and make that transition and, have a job for whatever time span and then kind of transition to the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, like, I tell people now that are thinking, like, I'm going to dip my toe in it. Well, listen, you either dip your toe or you jump in. They're like, there's no, if you're going to dip your toe in it, then you'll never jump in. Like, you got to come up with a time where you're just like, I'm going to pick this date. I'm going to work this job for a year while I'm building my side hustle until the side hustle gets to a point where I can finally just jump in and stop playing around with my toe in the water, right?
Yep.
Have a plan. Come up with a business plan. I didn't have one of those. It was just kind of like, shoot from the hip. For me, a lot of it came, I had faith and I was crazy enough to think that I could do it. And you have to, if you're, let's be honest, like, if you're an entrepreneur, not all the cookies are in the same jar. Let's be honest, right? Like, you got some crumbs around the table, right? You got to be that way if you want to succeed in this, and you have to be flexible to and not afraid to fail and fail off. People, you hear it say, fail often. do it. Like, try to fail daily at that point, and then just
Mhm.
take what you learn from that and continue to move forward. There was a point in 2015 where I had shut down my first business and transitioned into what now is Heroes Media Group. I rebranded to Heroes Media Group. And I had asked my pop, I've shared this story before. I asked my pop, I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about just shutting it all down and just going back to corporate." Now, my pop is the type of guy that, work 30 years with the same job, retire, die. Like, that was it. So I'm going into this meeting with my pop thinking he's going to tell me to go get a corporate job and stop, you know, messing around and get back to like responsibilities, right?
Mhm.
He didn't do that. He said, I told him I'm just going to quit and get a corporate job. He looked at me and said, "I think that'd be the biggest mistake you've made in your life." That's when I really knew I was on to something. Like, when my dad told me that, I was like, okay, if he believes that I'm doing something, then I must be onto something here. And again, it goes back to that. You have that aha moment where it's like, okay, time to step this up to the next notch. And then when I did that, it was like, created the business plan, had set goals. I have the 50,000-foot goal and have a goal. I think that's the biggest mistake a lot of entrepreneurs do, is like, you just walk in, it's like, it is what it is. And that's fine to a point, but have a goal that you're trying to strive for. I have been told all my life that I set unrealistic expectations. And it used to bother me for a long time. Now at my
Mhm.
age, you see the gray. I'm seasoned, right? I take that as a huge compliment. That's a compliment to me when you're telling me I set unrealistic expectations. Good, because it gives me something to chase every single day.
Yeah,
You have minor goals to get there, but if I reach my overall goal before I die, then I did not set that goal high enough.
absolutely. So now that you're in the thick of being an entrepreneur, what's been the most rewarding part? I know you said you have the freedom to go to your kids' game. What else is rewarding part about it? What lights you up every day?
Helping other people. My
Mm,
my purpose in life, I feel like God has me where I am right now, is to help other people get to where that's been my purpose. The my son's grown, he's graduated college, he's doing his own thing. Um, I think as an entrepreneur, and I'm in the business of helping other people get to other podcasters, get to how to be successful with their podcast, run other businesses. I own several other businesses, that I'm a part of. I sit on several nonprofit, board of directors and advisory boards. It's helping other people get to where they want to go. That is my passion in life.
gotcha. So now we know that being an entrepreneur is not always sunshine and rainbows. I mean, hell, you walked out the job on April Fool's Day and just walked off.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that journey, the frustrating part about being an entrepreneur and how you dealt with it.
Man, I think bills got to get paid,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you're starting off, you're like trying to find customers and this and that and the whole other thing. And you're just like, you want to make money. And I think a lot of the times we stress so much on the money side of it, and rightfully so. Bills got to get paid, stuff's got to get done. You want to start marketing, you want to do this, you want to do that. All of that costs money. I get that. But what happens is when you focus so much on the money, you start losing sight of what your purpose was.
Mm,
And when you lose sight of your purpose, then what the heck are you doing?
yeah.
You're chasing a dollar. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. You're chasing a dollar at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, that's fine. Great. Don't be an entrepreneur then. You want to chase a dollar? Go get a 9 to 5.
Gotcha.
That's a guaranteed paycheck. 9 to 5, guaranteed paycheck. And here's the other thing. That's not guaranteed either, because then you're expendable. Just like in the military, you're expendable.
Yeah.
Right? So
Very true.
when you start focusing so much that you lose sight of your purpose and you're chasing the dollar, then you're constantly going to chase the dollar. Focus on your purpose, profit will follow. If you focus on purpose, profit will always follow. I promise you that.
Gotcha.
But it's not
So,
easy. You have to have the stomach for it. You are going to go through some hard times. You're going to go to the point where you're like, do I pay the electric bill or do I put gas in the car? Or, should I, do I need that $25 steak at Longhorn Steakhouse, or should I eat ramen tonight? Well, you should probably, you eat, cereal with water because you can't afford the milk. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be times where you go through that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's part of the process. I tell people if you're going through that, write it down and start journaling. And then in years later, you're like, man, you remember the time we had sitting around, we couldn't even afford the electric, so we had candles, and we had Cap Crunch cereal or whatever cereal you like, and we couldn't afford milk, so we just poured water on it. Like, look how far you come.
Yeah. So now you didn't have the normal transition, and you got out of the military a little bit angry. Did you plug into any of the resources, the mentorships to help launch a business? Or you just said, I'm gonna just go out on my own and do it myself?
I was much younger then. I had a chip on my shoulder, and I was, everybody, I thought I had a lot of great ideas. Right. And then you realize I was the only one in the room. So it was kind of like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this, and we're gonna make this work. And eventually, what happened? I started asking other people, like, "What are your thoughts on this? If I did this, hey man, that's cool. Nobody's doing that." Or hey man, yeah, do that. Maybe don't do that. And it was a lot of the times when somebody said you can't do that. That's what pissed me off. Excuse me, but that's the type of stuff that lit a fire. And I was just like, okay. And at that time in my life, I was the type of person like, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I often equate it to this. I use this analogy as like, picture, for me, I'm an outdoors guy, so I'm a very visionary person. So you're walking in the woods on let's say a fire road trail, right? And then you come to a fork in the road, and you can go to the right where the fire road goes, or you can go to the left where there's like just kind of a half, like a game trail, right? And you can kind of tell. I'm the type of person where it was like, I find the thickest part of the woods, and I go there, and I fall, and you trip, and you get buckthorn on you, and you're like, what are you like? This guy's a moron. What is he going through the thickest? But like, what are you doing? Stay on the trail. Nope. Like, I'll cut through all of that crap. And I'm not a trailblazer. That's not what I'm saying. But eventually, what happens is I've gotten far enough now that when I turn and I look to see where I've come, there's people taking that path that I've told them not to do. So it's I don't know. It's the stubbornness in me. I'm a little stubborn sometimes, but
Gotcha.
I'm also blessed that I get to do what I love to do every day.
Gotcha. So now, tell us about your Heroes Media Group. I mean, what exactly do you serve?
So Heroes Media Group started in 2015. I'd rebranded it from a previous company. We were the first all-veteran podcast network back then that we knew of, right? And in 2015, I rebranded it to Heroes Media Group, and we opened it up to community heroes. So law enforcement, firefighters, first responders, educators, and then there's a clergy piece in there as well. And I wanted to change the narrative of how media was delivered and consumed. It wasn't creating any technology or anything like that. It was more or less like, let's create more positive stories than negative stories. And the problem with that mindset, not problem, but what I was told the problem was from investors was positivity isn't sexy. It doesn't sell. And that really pissed me off. So then I was just like, great, that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm 47 years old. We didn't get to where we are in the world today. I think most people that listen and watch this probably think like mainstream media is pretty negative, and there's a lot of narratives that are trying to be met. Doesn't matter what that narrative is. Could be from anything. So let's create some positive stories. Let's tell more of the positive stories, because I think what's going to happen 20, 30 years down the road is that there's going to be more positive things happening. You'll see a shift in society. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen overnight. I knew when I started this, it wasn't going to happen overnight, that it was going to take time. But here's the thing: I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I like what I do, so I'm just, I knew I was in it for long. I'm crazy enough to think that I can change the world for the better. That's not me being arrogant. That's just me
Yeah.
thinking I'm crazy. I'm literally admitting that I'm crazy enough to think that we can change the world for the better. So let's start changing people's mindset and start thinking more positive. Share more of those positive stories because they're out there. They're just not being shared.
Gotcha. So now, where can someone go to learn more about Hero Media Group, how to get connected, how to reach out to you? What's your go?
Yeah, if you listen, you can. My personal website is Mr. Adam Bird. It's BIRD, like a bird that flies.com, or you can go to heroesmediagroup.com and find. We're a hosting platform. We're a production agency. We do anything that has to do with podcasts, whether it's audio, video, transcription, social media management. We do anything for podcasters, and then we also have a publishing department where we help authors with their manuscripts self-publish and to turn their audiobook or turn their manuscripts into audiobooks. So we've been doing that since forever. I've been doing that since 2012, but since HMG's been doing it since 2015.
Got you. So connect with him on Mr. Adams Bird, BRRD.
Yep, BIRD. Yep.
All right. So is there anything else you want to give to the people, advice you want to give out to them before you hang up?
I would say this: believe in yourself, have faith, and take a chance on yourself. And whatever you decide to do, remember what your purpose is. Focus on the purpose. Everything else in life will fall into place the way that it's supposed to.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, so thank you, Adam, for joining us on the VET S.O.S podcast today.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
On behalf of the VET S.O.S family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us as well. You can find the VET S.O.S podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and all social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe and follow VET S.O.S so you don't miss anything like this great interview we just did with Adam. And remember, don't drown this here transition. Grab the VET S.O.S lifeline.